How do you respond to rudeness? We all deal with disrespect on a regular basis, and it can be quite upsetting and frustrating. But what if we could draw lessons from the antiquated school of Stoicism, which teaches us how to handle challenging circumstances with grace and sagacity? In this video, we'll explore 12 practical Stoic ideas that might help us deal with disrespect more skillfully. As per usual, I'm putting out the challenge to stick with me through the entire video. Now let's get started. First principle, retain your calm. One of the main principles of Stoicism is that our perception of events disturbs us rather than the actual events themselves. People are disturbed not by events, but by the viewpoint they adopt of them, as Epictetus put it. This suggests that disrespect is not inherently hurtful or objectionable, but rather that our perceptions and assessments of it are what cause us to experience hurt or rage. When someone treats you disrespectfully, remember that their actions are a result of their own feelings, ideas, and opinions, not a reflection of your actual worth or value. This can help you keep your cool and prevent their disrespect from affecting how you feel about yourself. Second principle, think about yourself. Engaging in introspection and self-analysis is a critical component of Stoicism. The Stoics held that we should constantly strive to improve both ourselves and our deeds, since the quality of our thinking determines the quality of our lives. The happiness of your life depends on the caliber of your thoughts, as Marcus Aurelius once said. It's important to reflect and ask yourself questions when you experience disrespect, such as, is what the individual said or did true? Did I say or do anything to cause this to happen? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my principles and virtues? You can comprehend the incident and your own part in it better by reflecting on the circumstance and evaluating it with objectivity. To ensure that your replies are based on thoughtful analysis rather than rash decisions, practice self-reflection. It promotes wisdom and personal development as well as helping one learn from the experience. Third principle, whenever you are angry, know that it is not only a current evil but that you have enhanced a habit, said Seneca. Stoics place a strong emphasis on the value of reason and self-control. They contend that snap judgments brought on by strong feelings like rage or irritation frequently result in bad choices and needless suffering. The Stoic approach helps you to control your impulses when faced with disrespect. Rather, stop for a moment and collect your thoughts. This break gives you a chance to gather your thoughts and feelings and allows you to react more calmly and thoughtfully. You can better connect your response with Stoic concepts of wisdom and self-control by restraining yourself from reacting instantly. When faced with disrespect, this strategy frequently results in interactions that are less emotionally charged and more productive. When faced with disrespect, pausing is a crucial Stoic tactic to keep your cool and make thoughtful judgments that will ultimately result in more good consequences and personal development. Fourth principle, seek not the good in external things, seek it within yourselves, said Epictetus and other notable Stoic thinkers. Stoics hold that people are all connected and that improving interpersonal relationships and personal development can result from having a greater knowledge of the motives and feelings of others. In response to contempt, Stoicism advises developing empathy. Make an effort to understand the other person's point of view by placing yourself in their shoes. Seeing things from a new perspective and realizing that the other person's disrespect may not be personal or deliberate are two things that empathy can help you with. Their own anxieties, ignorance, or insecurities could be the root of it. Additionally, empathy might lessen your unfavorable thoughts against the person and help you feel sympathy for them. Empathizing with the individual who has mistreated you will help you reply in a dignified and polite way by preventing you from taking their words or actions personally. Understanding another person's viewpoint, feelings, and intentions is made easier with empathy. Kindness and respect are appropriate responses to provide instead of becoming defensive or furious. In this manner, you can keep your composure and prevent the disagreement from getting worse. Empathy is also a reflection of the Stoic values of knowledge, kindness, and introspection. It makes it possible for you to develop personally and learn from trying circumstances. You can deal with disrespect in a more constructive and upbeat way if you practice empathy. Before we continue to the next lecture, hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss our next video about Stoicism philosophy. Fifth principle, developing qualities like courage and intelligence is one of the basic tenets of Stoicism. These are the attributes that support moral behavior and a happy life. The famous Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." This implies that rationality and conformity to the natural order of things are synonymous with virtue. For Stoics, virtue is the ultimate good in life, and all else is irrelevant. Stoicism encourages us to respond to others with virtue in mind when we encounter disrespect. This means that we should respond in a way that upholds our Stoic ideals and values, not that we should overlook or put up with the disrespect. By keeping our attention on virtue, we can grow as individuals, resist the pull of our emotions, and uphold our integrity and dignity. In trying times, Stoicism pushes us to be the best versions of ourselves. Sixth principle, accept acceptance. Accepting things that are beyond our control, such other people's disrespect, is one of the main precepts of Stoicism. According to Epictetus, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. This implies that rather than worrying about what we lack, we should be appreciative of what we already have. The Stoic dichotomy of control, which is another skill that Stoicism imparts, allows us to discern between the things that are and are not under our control. We have no influence over other people's behavior or outside events, only our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Thus, we shouldn't allow disrespect to interfere with our ability to maintain inner calm. Rather, we ought to acknowledge it as a fact of life and concentrate on how we may better both our circumstances and ourselves. We can save needless rage, frustration, and resentment by taking disrespect with stoicism. We can develop personally and gain knowledge from the experience. This enables us to respond to disrespect in a cool-headed and collected manner. Seventh principle, use humor. Laughing a little bit can sometimes make a big difference. According to Seneca, an ancient philosopher, you have mastered yourself when you know how to deal with what you should not take seriously. While Stoicism emphasizes emotion regulation and reasoned behavior, it also acknowledges the importance of humor in easing difficult circumstances. When someone disrespects us, humor might help us maintain emotional equilibrium and prevent us from becoming overly irate or irritated. Rather than allowing our feelings to take control, we have the option to reply with a clever comment or a lighthearted joke. While humor should never be used carelessly or overly, it may be a helpful Stoic strategy to deal with disrespect in a way that leads to a more peaceful and constructive ending. 8. Principle: define your boundaries. Being Stoic is about being a rock, not a doormat. A rock that doesn't back down in the face of injustice and disrespect. A rock that demands respect from others and is aware of its own value. A stone that limits its power and relinquishes control over its limitations. You don't have to accept disrespect from others lightly. It's also not necessary for you to lose your temper. You are capable of assertiveness and composure. You can let them know what went wrong and how you would like to be treated. You have the power to establish boundaries that uphold your honor and dignity. This is what we learn from Stoicism. It teaches us to be brave, virtuous, and strong. It teaches us to have self and other respect. It teaches us to remain composed and dignified on the outside in any circumstance. 9th principle: select forgiveness. Imagine that you are disrespected by someone. What is your response? Do you let it go or do you lash out in rage? There is some wisdom to be gained from the ancient concept of Stoicism. According to Stoics, forgiving someone is a gift you offer to yourself, not something you should do for them. The secret to inner contentment and tranquility is forgiveness. Forgiveness is difficult, though. It does not imply ignoring or condoning what transpired. It entails making the decision to let go of the hurtful feelings that are affecting you more than anybody else. According to Stoic philosophy, we should forgive everyone, but not blindly. Let us extend our forgiveness judiciously, kindly, and justly. Focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot is what Stoicism teaches us. Although we have no influence over other people's actions, we do have power over our own. We have the power to let go of our grudges and resentment by choosing to forgive. We have the option to let go and move on in a calm and peaceful manner. That's what forgiving means in Stoic terms. It's a strength rather than a weakness. It's a victory rather than a capitulation. It's a reward rather than a sacrifice. The greatest act of self-care and personal development is forgiveness. 10th principle: modify your viewpoint. Having a different perspective allows you to perceive things more broadly and impartially. When someone disrespects you, it enables you to keep from overreacting or taking things personally. Rather, it assists you in seeing that, overall, disrespect is not a huge concern. In the words of the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius, our life is what our thoughts make it. Applying perspective reveals that the majority of instances of disrespect are transient and of a minor nature. They have no bearing on your actual value or contentment. It's also evident that disrespect is frequently a reflection of the ignorance, insecurity, or weakness of the other person, rather than your own. Instead of allowing it to worry you, you can decide to forgive it, dismiss it, or draw lessons from it. Keeping your goals, values, and virtues front and center in life is another benefit of adopting a perspective. Instead than wasting time or energy on resentment or revenge, you might utilize them to pursue what is good and meaningful for you. You can lead a more contented and tranquil life by doing this. Thus, keep perspective in mind the next time you encounter disrespect. It will support you in remaining composed and acting sensibly. 11th principle: self-deception is our enemy. Zeno would also say that nothing is more hostile to a firm grasp on knowledge than self-deception. Self-deception, delusions of grandeur, these aren't just annoying personality traits. Ego is more than just off-putting and obnoxious. Instead, it's the sworn enemy of our ability to learn and grow. As Epictetus put it, it is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. Today, we will be unable to improve, unable to learn, unable to earn the respect of others if we think we're already perfect, a genius admired far and wide. In this sense, ego and self-deception are the enemies of the things we wish to have because we delude ourselves into believing that we already possess them. So we must meet ego with the hostility and contempt that it insidiously deploys against us, to keep it away, if only for 24 hours at a time. 12th principle: stop monkeying around. This life of misery and complaining has to end. Put an end to your capering. What's bothering you? What's fresh in this instance? Why is this so confusing? Who's at fault here? Look closely, or simply the issue at hand. Next, take a look at that. Nothing else is worth examining, regardless of whether you've looked at these anything for just 3 or 100 years. In one of her greatest pieces, Joan Didion would describe character as, the willingness to embrace personal accountability is the foundation that fosters self-respect. Marcus is advising us to stop wasting time whining about what we lack or the way things are. We need to take responsibility for our own life and stop playing around. Personality can be developed, then respect for oneself will follow. However, that requires that you begin and take it seriously. Not later, not after some queries have been addressed or diversions eliminated, but right now, in the present. Assuming accountability is the initial phase. The worst possible outcome would be to be without this character. Didion stated in On Self-Respect that, to live being disrespectful of oneself means spending a night awake, away from the comforts of warm milk, phenobarbital, and the resting hand on the comforter, tallying the transgressions of deeds and words, the betrayals of trust, the pledges quietly broken, the gifts irreparably wasted due to laziness, fear, or negligence. You're far superior to that. In one of her greatest pieces, Joan Didion would describe character as, the willingness to embrace personal accountability is the foundation that fosters self-respect. Marcus is advising us to stop wasting time whining about what we lack or the way things are. We need to take responsibility for our own life and stop playing around. Personality can be developed, then respect for oneself will follow. However, That requires that you begin and take it seriously. Not later, not after some queries have been addressed or diversions eliminated, but right now, in the present. Assuming accountability is the initial phase. The worst possible outcome would be to be without this character. Didion stated in On Self-Respect that to live being disrespectful of oneself means spending a night awake, away from the comforts of warm milk, phenobarbital, and the resting hand on the comforter, tallying the transgressions of deeds and words, the betrayals of trust, the pledges quietly broken, the gifts irreparably wasted due to laziness, fear, or negligence. You're far superior to that. Never forget that being stoic is about properly regulating your emotions rather than repressing them. By following these 12 guidelines, you can deal with rudeness and impolite behavior and remain resilient. Give us a thumbs up if you want to help us reach more individuals who are looking for old wisdom. If you're new, click the notification bell and subscribe to receive future courses on proverbial wisdom. We sincerely appreciate your time, and we hope to see you in our next video. Choose any of the videos that open on your screen to see more Stoic wisdom videos. Remain calm.